I'm just a boy from Kansas out to save the world from chronic disease. And I truly mean that. Nobody is in control of your health but you. I can't heal you. Your doctor can't heal you. You have to heal you. And it's all about having the education and empowerment to know what you need to be changing within yourself, within your life, to set your soul free and accomplish that best life that we all like to talk about. And I truly believe that the greatest medicine of all is to teach people how not to need it. I'm Brendan Vermeyer, the original Holistic Savage. Welcome to the Holistic Savage Podcast.
Me at that point, I started saying to myself, isn't it interesting as I started cleaning up all these things? And I won't go into big details, but what I did is I had been studying this stuff for a long time. I had all the tools. I had not necessarily been applying them. I think a lot of humans know what that's like. And finally, I sat down and had all these courses that I've been through, Landmark Forum, gratitude training, like all the books, thousands of self-help, maybe not thousands, but hundreds of self-help books, The Power of Now, and, all of these things, right, that I read throughout time, The Peaceful Warrior, The Celestine Prophecy, and you name it. Those were the first several books I read. And all of a sudden I said, I am going to now stop focusing on being powerful and being status and looking good and all this kind of stuff, right? And, having a six-pack abs and all this kind of stuff. I'm going to focus on being the best human I can be. But what is that? Yeah. What does that human look like? And I came up with a concept that I call the honor code, that I've written about in several of my books now. And I essentially said, this is the human being that I want to be. Now, I know that I will fall far short of this human being often, but it gave me an anchor to sort of latch onto, so that when I started doing all this stuff, like worrying about, the latest, greatest thing over here, or trying to, find, manifest a sexual romantic relationship because I'm feeling lonely or whatever, I came back to this thing again and again and again, and it anchored me. And some of the things that I came back to were honesty, because I had a major failing in that arena, generosity, kindness, and and this goes back to the honesty piece, but a very strong sort of anchor towards truth. Right. So that for me, everything I do now is really about that. If I'm going to talk about intermittent fasting to you, for example, I'll tell you what the science says. And then I'm going to say, this may or may not work for you. My program may or may not work for you. You may or may want to do this. And it changed everything for me. And so for me, that philosophy and that sort of interwork went over into my own sort of personal health journey. And then it translated over further into my work with individuals. Now, of course, when I was doing Metabolic Effect and that company, I had some of this stuff, but I hadn't integrated it fully into my being. And now I'm probably, like, let's be honest, we're all human, right? So maybe I'm 75, 80% of the way there. Maybe I'm 75%, 80% next level Jade. And the rest of me is still base level, culture level Jade. And I'm probably being very generous with myself here. But that's kind of what I think we need to do. And I think people need to kind of begin to look at this. So I'll say one more thing before I get your take. Here's how to do this. To me, is to look in your life and go, what am I psychologically grasping towards? What is it that I'm trying to control? What is it that I'm afraid of? What is it that I'm trying to do with searching out romantic relationships or stressing about food all the time? What does it really matter if I have six-pack or not, or I'm lean or not, if I am a devoid human without kindness and without any sort of thing that I'm doing to make a difference, right? Same with money now. I go, I make very good money, and I teach people how to do this, but I go, I want a huge generosity bank account, not a huge monetary bank account. I really want both, but to me, I prioritize one over the other. So, I know you just sent me the shirt, right? Hashtag holistic savage. Well, I have these hashtags I have going in my mind to remind me this. One is hashtag meaning over money.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is hashtag purpose over power,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this brings me back to my center point. And so to me, if you start seeing yourself obsessing about anything, money and savings, health and fitness, being lean or not, being a hypochondriac, being, relationships, there's something that you need to begin to anchor within yourself. And that's why I talk so much about philosophy and psychology. It's huge. And if you're not doing that work, I go like this. If you're not doing personal development work, that is the psychological equivalent of physical exercise. And so you look great and you have this great body maybe, but you are you're essentially a preteen psychologically.
Yeah.
You're stuck in adolescence. And I would say most people never escape adolescence. And I don't want to be an adolescent anymore.
Yeah. Unless it's Peter Pan style, but I couldn't agree more with all of that. Recently I wrote a 2-part post on Instagram about soul over physique, right? I think, the big turning point for me, because, back in the day, it's like I grew up doing martial arts and wrestling and MMA. And then I joined the Navy after high school for the SEAL program. And, back then it was all a, sense of inadequacy and kind of self-loathing. And I have to punish myself. I have to be the, toughest guy out there and be able to suffer more than the next guy. And, that's kind of the world I came from, but I very much had this kind of martial arts mindset of, honor, integrity, discipline, and, the code of the samurai with Bushido. And I'm like, where the hell are these morals in modern America? We're just chasing instant gratification hedonically rather than eudaimonically pursuing self-actualization. And so, kind of the big paradigm shift of, cool, you want to lose 100 pounds? Great, why?